Tyler Reddick entered Darlington Raceway on March 22, 2026, having already made history. Through the first 5 races of the 2026 NASCAR Cup Series season, he had won 3 of them, a feat no driver in the history of the sport had ever accomplished. He arrived in South Carolina as the undisputed points leader, the hottest driver in NASCAR, and the man everyone else was gunning for. Darlington, though, had its own plans. Darlington Raceway is not a forgiving place. The 1.366-mile oval has earned its nickname, the track too tough to tame, through decades of shredded tires, broken cars, and crushed championship hopes. For Reddick specifically, Darlington carried a personal weight. He had finished runner-up there 3 times before Sunday. 3 times the track had handed him heartbreak at the final moment. That history was on his mind pulling into the weekend. He qualified on pole position, which suggested his number 45 Toyota for 23X1 Racing, the team co-owned by Denny Hamlin and basketball legend Michael Jordan, was going to be a serious contender. What happened next, however, was the kind of adversity that separates good drivers from exceptional ones. On lap 1, not lap 50, not lap 100, but the very first lap of the race, Reddick radioed his team with alarming news. His alternator was failing. The voltage in his car was dropping to dangerously low levels. Before a single meaningful lap had been completed, 23X1 Racing was already in crisis management mode. The team swapped a higher capacity battery into his Camry after the first stage concluded, but the charging problem did not go away. The battery still was not holding charge. With the electrical system compromised, Reddick faced an impossible choice: continue drawing power from a system that couldn't replenish itself, or start shutting things down. He shut things down. Reddick toggled off his cockpit fans. He cut power to his cool suit, the water circulation system that keeps drivers from overheating inside cars that routinely reach brutal interior temperatures. With air temperatures already sitting in the high 80s in South Carolina, racing without a functioning cool suit was not just uncomfortable, it was physically punishing. During a later pit stop, Reddick's crew pumped standing water out of the suit, water that had stopped circulating and begun to heat up inside the suit itself. The battery wasn't charging at all, Reddick said afterward. All day long, just not running fans and sweating my tail off inside the race car. We knew it was going to be physical. Really wore out, but I guess I don't need as much of that cooling stuff as I normally have. The battery swap also sent Reddick to the back of the pack, erasing whatever advantage starting on pole had given him. He now had to fight his way through the entire field, in a compromised car, in intense heat, with no cooling, while Brad Keselowski was putting on a clinic at the front. Keselowski was dominant in the early and middle portions of the race. He led a race-high 6 times for 142 laps and won the first 2 stages. His Roush Fenway Keselowski Ford looked like the class of the field, and there was no obvious reason to doubt that he would be the one holding the trophy at the end of the day. Meanwhile, chaos was unfolding across the rest of the field, mostly on pit road. Ryan Blaney was penalized for pitting outside his pit box after his crew identified a loose lug nut, sending him to the back of the pack alongside Reddick. Bubba Wallace, who had started second and spent time inside the top 5, was derailed by a pit stop issue that left him buried in the mid-pack. Wallace then suffered damage in a crash shortly after a restart and finished 34th. Chris Buescher had spent time in the lead but was nearly spun out by Reddick while attempting to enter pit road on the final stop, an incident that dropped Buescher to a 9th place finish. Kyle Larson, the reigning 2-time Cup Series champion, ran inside the top 10 for most of the afternoon before suffering a mechanical failure in the final 10 laps. He finished 32nd. Joey Logano had an off day from the opening laps and crossed the line 33rd. The attrition across the field was real, but Reddick was not benefiting from circumstance alone. He was charging. Tire wear, as it always does at Darlington, proved decisive. The 2026 rules package introduced a 12% increase in horsepower and a 25% reduction in downforce, which placed even greater stress on tires throughout the race. Teams that managed their rubber best held the advantage. The new package had drawn widespread predictions of non-stop crashes and carnage, but the race told a different story. Only 4 yellow flags flew, including just 1 for a multi-car incident. The fewest caution periods at Darlington since a rain-shortened race on March 21st, 1999. The last full-length Darlington race with fewer than 4 cautions was the 1998 Southern 500, which saw just 2 yellows on September 6, 1998. The first 91 laps ran entirely under green, marking the 5th consecutive race in the 2026 season where the opening stage finished without a caution. "A lot of fun today sliding around," said Blaney, who recovered from his penalty for a career-best third-place finish at Darlington. "I thought the package was really fun." The race came down to pit strategy in the closing laps. Keselowski made his final pit stop 4 laps earlier than Reddick on the last round of green flag stops. That decision, 4 laps, decided the outcome of the race. Reddick pitted later, came out on fresher tires, and found himself staring down a 7-second gap to the leader with the laps winding down. 25 laps to go, 7 seconds. Reddick closed it. He tracked Keselowski down lap by lap, and on lap 266 of 293, he made the pass. From there, Reddick did not look back. He pulled away for a margin of victory of 5.847 seconds, leading 77 laps in total and claiming his 12th career Cup Series victory, his first ever at Darlington Raceway. "I know never to give up," Reddick said in victory lane. "I think it's very fitting that when we finally get our first win here at Darlington that the Lady in Black would test us like that. We've been so close so many times." Keselowski was direct in his assessment afterward. "We didn't have the best car today, not compared to Tyler," he said. "Tyler drove a hell of a race and he's driving a rocket and making it count right now." Michael Jordan was present at Darlington, as he has been for every Reddick win this season, celebrating at a track he had visited as a child growing up in North Carolina. "Pretty sure it's frustrating for him because he had an unbelievable car, and I think the key to him winning was just keeping his head," Jordan said. "We just had to get the car right, and I think he did an unbelievable job. I just wanted everything to be good, because once he gets back out there, then I feel like his competitive juices are going to carry him all the way to the end. He earned it all week, and I'm real proud of the team." With the win, Reddick's championship lead stretched to a commanding 95 points over second place Ryan Blaney, who holds 230 points. Reddick sits atop the standings with 325 points. 4 wins, 4 top 5s, and 5 top 10s in 6 races. Bubba Wallace dropped to 3rd at 205 points, now 120 points out of the lead following his crash. Denny Hamlin sits 4th with 203 points. Chase Elliott 5th with 194. The championship picture further down the board carries some significant warning signs for established names. Kyle Larson has fallen to 10th in the standings. Joey Logano, a 3-time Cup Series champion, has finished above 15th just once all season. 3rd at the Daytona 500, and now sits 16th in the standings after dropping 5 spots on Sunday. Michael McDowell, tied on points with Logano, but behind on the tiebreaker of best finish, is the first driver currently outside the chase. With this victory, Reddick joined NASCAR Hall of Famers Dale Earnhardt, 1987, and Bill Elliott, 1992, as the only Cup Series drivers in history to win 4 of the first 6 races in a season. He began 2026 by winning the Daytona 500, then won the following 2 races back-to-back, becoming the first driver in NASCAR history to win the opening 3 races of a season. Sunday's win at Darlington was his 4th in 6 attempts, and his dominance over the 2026 field has been total. The NASCAR Cup Series heads next to Martinsville Speedway on Sunday, March 29th, the first short track race of the season. Denny Hamlin, who co-owns Reddick's car, holds a series-leading 6 wins at Martinsville and won there just a year ago, snapping a 31-race winless streak with his first Martinsville victory in 10 years.